Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Legg here representing Team JVS. I'm back here again for another movie review. This is from Middleburg, Virginia Film Festival. The name of this movie is called The Sound of Metal. Now, this will be a part one because the last 30 minutes of the movie, something happened. I couldn't finish it, but I'm going to talk around the surrounding things that I can talk about. And then I'll do a more exclusive review about my thoughts on the story. So this will not have a rating on it, but I can talk about some very interesting things that I've seen so far in watching the film. So the premise of this is a heavy metal drummer life is thrown into a free fall when he begins to lose his hearing. Now this stars Riz Ahmed, Olivia Cooke, Paul Rossi, Matthew Amarick, I think I might have pronounced his name wrong. Lauren Ridloff, who was Connie in The Walking Dead, if you didn't know. And that's pretty much most of the bulk of the major cast members. But Riz Ahmed plays the role of Ruben, and Olivia Cooke plays the role of Lou. Now, Ruben and Lou, they have their own band. They are a heavy metal band. He's the drummer, she's the singer slash screamist. And, you know, they showcase something very interesting. The very opening shot that they are in it. Like they're driven to something totally different. And not just that, he is very talented. Dare I say more talented than even what she's actually showing and conveying with her screaming. But they're working together, they're in love with each other, and they're working together, and all of a sudden something happens. Now, as far as the sound mixing and the music and just the way that things are actually happening from an atmospheric standpoint, it is really good. Because The Quiet Place, one thing they did with The Quiet Place in the movie theaters when I was watching it is when you were the character that was deaf, and already the movie itself, it lends itself to try to be completely quiet without knowing what's going on. But this person is deaf, it's just twice as terrifying. And what they do is they take that simple concept and they bring you, the actual viewer, through this immersive process of the character Ruben, who, as he's sitting there drumming, like he's like, you know, you have like this one thing in your ear, like kind of trying to get it out, and like you're trying to feel what's going on, where to the point where it just goes, and like it's a slow progressive thing. It is terrifying. It's haunting, dare I say. And a big part of that is their sound mixing and their progression through how the story is going to pace, where this is going to go as far as his hearing, what is going to happen. And not just that, through the directing. The directing, in my personal opinion, is perfect. It lends itself to this situation because they're putting Riz Ahmed in the perfect situation to showcase all different signs of where this could go, the worries in between, the denial aspect of it. And he is playing it beautifully, but is also being laid right there foundationally for him to really capitalize on it. So in terms of the way that this was actually directed and mixed, it was perfect. As far as the cinematography, some of the scenes with him in the early stages of being on the band, being on the road, and just their interactions, I think it felt really natural. Like there were some shots I thought that was like really well placed, specifically on the road and at the concerts, as well as like those personal moments between both of them. I think it was done really well. It was shot pretty well. The acting so far, again, I've only seen let's say I only got 30 minutes left. And I'll do more of this later on. I think the movie itself is 2 hours and 10 minutes long. So I've only seen like about an hour and some change. Well, actually no, more than an hour. About an hour and a half and some change. But the thing about it is Riz Ahmed, he really does immerse himself into this specific character. Now, I don't know, you know, him as an actual actor. I've seen him, what was that HBO series? Oh my goodness, he did such a good job in that, because it was like a one-time thing. The Night Of, amazing, did an amazing job with that. And of course, he's been in a lot of movies since that point. The last thing we saw him in was, of course, Venom, and then of course he was in Rogue One. But The Night Of was where I felt like he was in it, you know. With this one, like the physicality, the emotiveness, and also one specific thing that's a flaw in Ruben that I think that it was a sleeper performance from what I've seen so far, because they slowly creep it in there, but all the signs are there, and the mannerisms and the way that he plays off of it, it's perfect. Olivia, she does an amazing job too, because Olivia Cooke in this one, she plays a character kind of different than she's ever played before, because from the moment that I see her, like, she's not just seeming of an emo character, but she seems like she's got a lot of inner issue about everything that's going on around her. Like, I don't know if it's just the way that her emotive eyes look, or her expressionless moments sometimes, or even her terrified moments sometimes, when he has this one moment where he's freaking out because he couldn't do anything. He couldn't hear, he couldn't do anything. And like, her look, I was like, there's something haunting about her look. Now, I think she's doing an amazing job with it. One thing that was a little distracting was, and I think it does compliment to her look, because it makes her unrecognizable some moments, is her eyebrows. Eyebrows are kind of like, they're colored kind of blonde, and it makes it kind of look like she doesn't have eyebrows, kind of. And it just, for me, unfortunately, it's a small nitpick. It's just nitpick. It's just really distracting for me, unfortunately. But her performance is really good. And it's just interesting to watch, because I can't speak more on the story just yet. But to watch them all kind of like maneuver in this, like, it feels sometimes like a documentary. Like, it feels like this is something that's naturally, progressively is actually happening. Even when you get to like a character like Lauren Rinloff's character, who's kind of like a teacher, like, it's kind of like, you know, where is this kind of going? You know, where is this character going to end up, and what is he going to have to sacrifice to move forward from this, essentially? And I think that from what I've seen so far, like, the acting is really well done from Riz, and I think the other supporting cast members, they compliment him. Like, it's good connective tissue all around. In some moments, it really feels like this is actually, I know for a fact Lauren is actually deaf. But one thing that I'll say is that their usage of the natural progression of where things go, I noticed myself starting to learn sign language watching what was happening. Because one thing that they do very effectively, and again, this is catered to directing, is that when the character Ruben goes to this location and people start doing sign language, they don't put anything on the subtitles. So you don't know what's actually being said. You're literally feeling as though you're him. And until he starts to understand certain things, like, you're kind of just as much in the dark as he is. As well as you also feel like that there's something missing there. And I find that very fascinating, the way this was directed and where it was done. So far, I've really enjoyed it. I'm interested to see where it's going to go. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this review. I'll talk to you guys later on. And stay tuned for our part 2 for The Sound of Metal. I don't think you're going to want to miss it, because this is something, seems like this is an unmissable experience. Alright? Talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.